And that's because birth was no longer in the hands of mothers and community and midwives. It became in the hands of male surgeons. So what makes home birth safe today? Hi, my name is Ashley and welcome to episode 3 of Controversial Conversations. My blogs are usually about me sharing my family life with all of the highs, the lows, and the cuteness in between, but this series is me as a mother, a wife, and a woman with my own voice. And I long for deeper conversation. I am tired of the small talk. So here I'm diving into the nitty-gritty and stirring the pot a bit. I am always open to a good debate, and I invite you to comment in the comment section below. I do hope that we can be mature and share ideas and experiences. But along the way, let's remember, you think like you and I think like me, and that is okay. In today's episode, I will be talking about one of my favorite topics, and if you are a regular on my YouTube channel, you have probably seen me give birth twice at home in my bathtub. And I believe that home birth is the safer choice. Let's take it back to the beginning, shall we? Obviously, before there was the hospital birth, women have been giving birth at home forever. That was the way everyone came into the world. Women have always birthed with the support of their family around them, daughters, mothers, aunts, and community midwives. Birth has always been seen as a natural physiological event because that's how it is. It was never medicalized and it was never feared as it is today. Midwives have always been the heart of the birthing world. They're not just birth attendants. They're healers, herbalists, even spiritual guides. In medieval times, if a baby seemed near to death, the church gave midwives permission to perform a baptism on the baby. A woman to do that, just using water and a few sacred words. You know that's special. And it did work. Of course, there weren't sterile tools or antibiotics, so there were times where unfortunate events would happen. But for healthy women, birth was always successful. Even actually, if you look back in time at some of the amazing birthing stories out there, I'll tell you quickly just my favorite one that I turned to for inspiration while I was giving birth at home. Her name was Margaret Beaufort, and she was the mother of King Henry VII. She was 13 years old when she gave birth, so her hips had not fully got to where a mature woman's hips would be. She was in labor for 3 days and almost died herself giving birth. But by miracle chance, she gave birth to King Henry and lived a long and healthy life after that. Yes, there were traumatic experiences, but birth was still natural. Midwives attended that birth, many midwives, and it's so special because they passed down this knowledge and experience generation to generation to generation. It's such a sacred practice. That is until the late 1800s, early 1900s, when things started to change. Around the turn of the 20th century, especially in North America and Europe, births started becoming more popular in a hospital setting. Some reasons included the rise of modern medicine, of course, and male doctors who would like to perform surgical techniques on birth. Also, they suggested using drugs like ether and twilight sleep, which would help with pain. With the promise of painless labor, it did leave women in a very vulnerable state because they were usually unconscious giving birth. Sometimes this just boggles my mind that we let men convince us that that was a great idea. I guess it's because many people believed that a hospital was more sanitary, more scientific. They believed that they knew what they were doing. And it's not that they don't know what they're doing, but sometimes we put too much medical attention on what's natural. The dark truth is that midwives were pushed out. They were painted as uneducated, superstitious, and even dangerous. In some places, it even became illegal to practice midwifery without a license. And those licenses were kept out of reach for most women of color. This is a hard subject for me. I feel a lot of mixed emotions just knowing systemically how this took place. And that's because birth was no longer in the hands of mothers and community and midwives. It became in the hands of male surgeons. And that is when the interventions really started happening. You have forceps, episiotomies, C-sections, more sedation, constant fetal monitoring, and my biggest pet peeve, inductions. Now, I'm not saying that those tools aren't there for a reason. They do save lives, but most were and still are used unnecessarily when birth is progressing physiologically. Now that you have the facts, let me ask you, did birth become safer or more controlled? Let's fast forward to today where we do know better, but some people are still afraid of birth unless it's in a hospital. So what makes home birth safe today? Let's talk facts, because although this is an emotional topic for me, there is a lot of data to provide here. I have had 2 home births naturally at home in my bathtub, attended by midwives each time. No bright lights, no interventions, and no strangers in my house. Just the warmth and comfort of my own home and the pure trust in my body. Getting the medical world involved in the birthing process can definitely slow down your progression, which was something that I took into consideration when having a home birth. I knew that I just wanted to let my body do what I knew it knew how to do. If you get an epidural or any pain meds or pain management, it can confuse your body and actually stop the progression of your labor. And that's usually when they start doing all these interventions to get it to keep on going. The pain that comes along with labor is there for a reason, and when you really just listen to your body and allow yourself to trust the physiological process of birth, you have a much higher chance of having a successful, safe, natural home birth. I will say science does support this kind of birth. Here's the stats. In British Columbia, where I live, a study of over 17,000 planned home births show that there was no increased risk of neonatal deaths compared to a hospital. And women had fewer cesareans, about 5% compared to in a hospital where it's about 30%. Babies also had fewer interventions, and mothers reported higher satisfaction and faster recovery. I can also vouch to say that after you give birth and you're at home in your own bed and not in the hospital, it is the best feeling to know you're already where you need to be. You don't have to get in a car. You don't have to pack up all your stuff. You don't have to go anywhere. If part of the worry is that you're a first-time mom, you're not really sure what to do once the baby is here, you don't have to worry about that, because in my experience, the midwives come and check up on you. They come right to your house. So I gave birth the next day, the midwives were here. They came every single day to check on me and baby for the first week. And then they come once a week after that until you're about 6 weeks, when you can go into the clinic yourself. I love that part. Countries like the Netherlands, the UK, New Zealand, and Canada, where I live, they offer really good integrated home birth systems. For example, in the Netherlands, up to 30% of births are at home, and the outcomes are excellent. Why? Because midwives are well trained and a backup hospital is just a phone call away. Home births work best when the pregnancy is low risk, you have a licensed midwife attending you, and you do have a backup plan or hospital nearby if you do need to take that route. And that is when a home birth is the safer option over a hospital where you have all these interventions. But there is another side where home births aren't a choice. I do need to tell the other side of the story as well, because home birth is not always safe, especially when it's done without the support. For example, in the country Chad, nearly 70% of births are at home. And it's not because of woman empowerment. It's because of a lack of infrastructure, geography, and poverty. There are no hospitals nearby. There are no licensed midwives. There's no sterile equipment and no backup plan. So that can be very scary. The outcomes are a hard truth. The neonatal death rate is 31 babies in 1,000 babies. The maternal death rate is 1,000 in 100,000 births. That's 1 in every 100 moms dying in childbirth. That breaks my heart to hear statistics like that when it can be so preventable. Compare that to countries like Canada or the Netherlands, where it's 1 in 1,000 neonatal deaths or 20 in 100,000 maternal deaths. That's a 30 to 50 times difference. That is huge. But that's what happens when women are forced to give birth without licensed practice attendants involved. So yes, home birth can look completely different depending on where you live. There is safe, supported, intentional home birth, and then there's risky, dangerous, unsupported, desperate home birth, and they are not the same thing. And I hear you. When you hear those numbers, that can create a fear in you to want to have a hospital birth, because it's evidently safer to have a hospital birth in a country like Chad than it would be to have a home birth. And this is where kind of my dream for my whole entire YouTube platform comes into play. I don't think I've ever shared this online before, but I do stand with mothers, with licensed midwives, with informed choice and physiological birth, obviously. But I do also stand with the women who never got a choice. But it is my dream to use my entire platform, my social media platform, to one day fund better neonatal and maternal care in countries like Chad. I want to raise money to train skilled licensed midwives, especially in high-need communities, send basic neonatal sterile supplies like tools, birth kits to these countries, support mobile clinics to help reach out to some of these women in rural communities, and offer postpartum care where there currently isn't any. Because no woman should die from having a baby. And no baby should die because they were born in the wrong country. You feel me? I'm very passionate about this, and I can't wait to one day be able to attain some of these goals. I kind of want to touch on the whole free birth topic a little bit. It does come into play here. Free birthing, if you don't know, is when you choose to have an unattended birth at home, and it is becoming more and more popular. I can't speak for other women why they would choose to do this. I think that it's probably similar to just why you would want to have a home birth in general, just the special little love cove that you have in your home without any attendance there. Personally, I feel like having a midwife involved is a wonderful asset. The sense and security of knowing that you have a trained professional there with you in case of emergencies is just so important for me. If you have given birth before and you know exactly what to expect, you know how your body works, you know how the birthing process works, I get it. Free birthing does make more sense in some situations if that is available to you. But if it is your first time giving birth and you're unsure about what it will be like, I don't think that a free birth is the safest route to go. Those kinds of home births can add to the negative side of the statistics as well, unfortunately. Birth should be safe, sacred, and supported for every woman everywhere. Also, talking about birth, sharing your birth stories, asking how you were born, talking to mothers, sisters, friends, aunts, women getting together and sharing their birth stories and sharing positive experiences as well will really help the community and the world see that not every experience is a traumatic one. And even if you've had a traumatic hospital experience, you can have a safe delivery at home afterwards. I want to say thank you for being here, for listening or watching, and thank you for staying with me through the history, the controversy, and the heartbreak. And the hope, because I do have so much hope for the future and I really want to make a difference. If this episode opened your eyes, fired you up, challenged you a little bit, I invite you to share it with a friend. Start a conversation. If you're considering having a home birth, know that I believe in you and I know that you can do it. You don't need to be afraid of the pain of labor. Trust your body. Trust that your body knows how to do this even if you don't know, because I can promise you. Your body does know. If you're new here and you haven't watched me give birth twice, I invite you to watch. I'll put the links right here in this video and I will put them in the description below. And I have a whole series of pregnancy, birth, and labor on my channel if you're interested in any of that as well. Until next time, trust your body, trust the birth process, and let's keep fighting for something better.